The Jaguar XJ. It's a classic, but it's a classic that's in need of a major update, inside, outside, and under the bonnet. An evolutionary rather than revolutionary redesign is long overdue. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present to you a class act, the latest 7th generation Jag XJ. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's one of those cheap mid-term facelifts, but nothing could be further from the truth, because this is completely new. The exterior, the engine, the interior, and of course that means the driving experience too. Now, I really cannot overemphasize just how important this car is to Jaguar. You see, the XJ has become over the years the definitive, most important model for the company. It's been in production since '68. Over 800,000 have already been sold worldwide, and that accounts for about half of the Jags ever built. The bad news is that if Jaguar get this one wrong, their Coventry home could end up as a housing estate or retail park. No, the last car I was driving was the new £250,000 Rolls-Royce Phantom. I've climbed out of that into this, and you're not going to believe this, but I wouldn't lie to you. This, in terms of finish and quality and craftsmanship, is of a higher calibre than the £250,000 Rolls-Royce. I kid you not. We are in the bog standard 39 grand, 3 litre V6. And I tell you, I'll give it 11 out of 10. Now, you don't need to drive a car like this quickly. It's satisfying enough just to glide along in eerie silence. But a range of gutsy engines from 3 litre V6s to 4.2 litre V8s provide all the grunt that you'd ever need for proper high-performance driving. And here's the proof. This is Jaguar's chief test pilot, Mike Cross, taking a 155 mph XJR from his office to the works canteen. But sporting reputation on its own is nowhere near enough. This car needs the right architecture too. And believe me, it's got it. Well, the first thing that's obvious is that with or without badges, this is a Jaguar, unmistakably. It's got that DNA. It's got this evolutionary rather than revolutionary look about it, the new XJ. Lovely fluted lines here coming up through the bonnet. And like I said, unmistakably Jaguar, couldn't be anything else. You can't believe it, but this is a very important area. This is the DLO, the daylight opening area. A lot of work went into this. This is basically the core of the car. They just built the car around this area here. And you know, some lovely understated details. You wouldn't know it, but believe me, they probably spent millions actually working this little design touch here. Very difficult since they're building this car in aluminium. The thing about it is, it's very, very understated, but it's very, very Jaguar. But you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see that little mascot popping out of there, wouldn't you? The space inside this car is something like 40% greater than on the previous generation, the outgoing XJ. But having said that, I'm not sure once they've created this great big void inside, they've then sort of filled it with a lot of gear that's sort of enclosed it, made it a little bit claustrophobic. And you know, the doors are terribly wide. You've got enough elbow room, but they've created space and then they filled that space. And as for this here, it's a bit like, I don't know, walking into a tiny front room in a little 2-up, 2-down terrace house and seeing a 36-inch widescreen TV in the corner. You know, the TV is too big for the room and all this is a bit too big for the car. But having said that, this is a very refined and quiet and elegant car. It's almost sort of regal in some respects. I'll tell you one thing, Prescott will like it. 3 Jags. Well, apart from the fact that the exterior design is a bit tamer than it could have been much more adventurous with it, you know. I can't really fault this car. And it does beg the question, you know, this new Jag XJ. Why would you need to buy a German-built BMW or Mercedes when you can have a best-in-class, British-built Jaguar?